club fittings throughout the year. The Trails also has great family social events, monthly special dinners, plus holiday brunches and catering. When you're looking for the perfect place to golf, check out the Trails Golf Club in Norman. Contact Zane Alexander today at 405-364-3790 or visit trailsgolf.com.
You're listening to the home of Sooner fans, KREF, Norman, Oklahoma, and streaming live on the KREF app.
The Ref Sports Radio Network.
Live from the Buffalo Wild Wings studios, it's time to get locked into the best Sooner recruiting and football news with Parker Thune and Grayson Singleton.
You better lock it up. No, you lock it up. You lock it up. Lock it up.
Hit the guys up on the Riverwind Casino call-in line at 405-329-9000 or text the show at 405-651-3439.
Do it! Just do it!
Now, with Locked In, here's Parker Thune and Grayson Singleton.
Have you been apprised of the latest risque text line controversy, Grayson?
Nope, and I'm dying to be informed.
So Cole in Claremore received a text from our text line this morning at 5:09 a.m. that said, and I quote, "Stay tuned, I might beat it."
Hold on, what?
He was very taken aback by that text. And I can understand why.
I was about to say, would you not be? Holy cow.
Apparently, Travis Davidson had sent that text in response to one of Cole's texts. I don't really know what the context was. But he sent that text at 3:15 yesterday afternoon, and somehow it didn't deliver until the wee hours of the morning. So imagine waking up just after 5 a.m. to the KREF text line telling you, stay tuned, I might beat it.
Like, dog, that's one of those things, if you send that to a coworker, that is an automatic trip to HR.
Yep, you're going to HR.
Like, holy crap. Imagine if he doesn't have the text line number, like, memorized or saved, and, like, you wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning. It's just a random number telling you that somebody's about to beat it. That's a hell of a start to the morning.
I think we've moved past it. Cole was promoted from 1-star to 3-star status for his long-sufferingness with this whole situation. 405-651-3439 is the text line where you can interact with us every single day. And perhaps, like Cole, you will receive a risque text at 5 a.m. that somehow gets embargoed for 14 hours over whatever medium those texts are delivered. But 318 listeners says, that'd be an extremely difficult thing to explain to your wife.
Yep.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah.
No doubt. No, honey, I promise it's KREF texting me. I promise it's just the guys at the radio station. That's all.
580 Mike Honcho says, it was Plank putting up Steph Curry shots again.
2 weeks in a row, man. 2 weeks in a row. We've been embroiled in a very tawdry text line scandal. Jay in Tulsa says, bright siding it, guys. That text didn't come from Travis's personal number. Now, I can't decide. Would that be?
I got nothing.
Would that be more or less disconcerting to receive that from a personal phone number or the KREF text line? 5-star Gunny Stutzman always says, I'm up at 5 a.m., so no worries. Well, Gunny, if you ever get a text from one of our folks at 5:09 a.m., just know it wasn't because one of our personnel was up texting you at 5 a.m. Apparently, Cole in Claremore wasn't the only one who received a text in the 5 a.m. hour this morning. So apparently Travis fired off a bunch of responses to listeners yesterday that somehow didn't land until like 14 hours after the fact. We got some recruiting material to discuss today, including a new offer in the 2026 class. A new offer has gone out as of last night to a very intriguing prospect from the deep South. First and foremost, though, Crimson Horn on the text line asked, how is Zephan Walker doing this season? Was looking for some stats, but couldn't find any. DeZephan Walker, of course, 4-star running back, Oklahoma commit, the only commit for the Sooners at that position in the 2026 class. I was checking in on DeZephan Walker earlier this week and how his team had done and if he had a playoff matchup this weekend, because if so, I was possibly going to go up to Kansas City on Friday and watch it and cover it. Come to find out, DeZephan Walker's high school team up in Peculiar, Missouri, went 0-10 this year. 0-10 with a point differential of like minus 225. So,
holy cow.
Yeah. Individually, can't imagine he had a spectacular season, because when the team around you is that bad, what can you really do when you're the one dude that everybody has to account for?
Especially at that position, too.
So, that's the situation for DeZephan Walker. Good player on tape. Oklahoma likes him a lot. Great culture fit here. But if you're looking for a standout senior season, he's not your guy, because, boy, he was playing for a very, very – I don't even know what the proper word would be. But that's a season from hell. That's a cursed campaign. 0-10. And Ray Peck is a program that's like won state championships in the not-too-distant past either. Mm-hmm. So not very good in 2025, though. That's for sure. New coaching staff, I do believe. But we have a new offer out in the 2026 class to a defensive end, Grayson. How about this? Oklahoma already has 3 defensive end commits in the 2026 cycle. They're in the hunt for a 4th. Folks, get to know the name Malique Franklin. It's Malique with a Q-U-E. Malique Franklin. He hails from Daphne, Alabama. He is 6'6", 255 pounds, so easily the largest physically of any of Oklahoma's commits and or targets at defensive end. But the Sooners reached out to Malique Franklin yesterday, extended him a scholarship offer, and so immediately this becomes a process to watch, because you would figure, and I don't have it confirmed yet, everything is very new, they're still working on lining things up, but you would figure that Malique Franklin is going to be in town for an official visit for either the Missouri game or the LSU game, and we'll see where things lead there. He has an Ole Miss offer, he has a Mississippi State offer, he has a West Virginia offer, so he has other P4 options available to him, but naturally, when Oklahoma gets involved for an under-the-radar sleeper this late in the process, they're going to have a seat at the table. We have seen Oklahoma make late pushes in years past that have been successful. Taylor Wein comes to mind, a kid from the state of Tennessee that Oklahoma didn't offer until November of his senior year, but it took less than 2 weeks to get him committed. They have made certain pushes along these lines that have been unsuccessful over the years. You think back to last season, remember when they went after Cash Jacobson, the late stock riser of a defensive tackle up at Jenks, who wound up choosing USC over Oklahoma and Texas Tech, I believe, were the other finalists. So who knows what happens here with Malique Franklin. He's held the offer for all of about 18 hours, but certainly something to unpack here, Grayson. I know you and I were both examining the tape earlier on in the day. What stands out to you about Malique Franklin and the player that he is?
Athleticism and raw gifts. I mean, he's got the ability to play football. Now, this tape, if you watch it, it screams project. It screams potential, but it's got to be developed, and he's going to need, 2 years of coaching, because there are just certain technical things that he's got to get cleaned up to be a player in the SEC. Now, again, that does not mean he can't be a good player. It just means that's where he is right now. But he's got really good size, 6'6", about 250 pounds. That'll play. So you've already got that. He's got good quickness, and he moves well with his feet. He doesn't seem to me that he's fully grown into his body yet. There's still some awkward movement there that should get ironed out as he gets older and whatnot. But you still have that to work with. And at that sort of a height, you and I talked about this, at that sort of a height playing on the defensive line, he's going to have to be coached. Hey, Miguel Chavis, this is going to be your big-time thing. he is going to have to be coached into playing with a lower pad level. He plays too much standing straight up as of right now. And I think that goes hand in hand with the awkward movements and the growing into the body type of thing. So a developmental project nonetheless, but some raw traits that are very intriguing with this guy.
Yeah, I mean, you're taking a gamble. You're rolling the dice a little bit with a guy like this because some guys that are 6'6" are just awkward movers.
Right.
And they never really establish that fluidity.
Exactly.
But if you find a guy who does, you find a guy who can, you find a guy that can start to play with better pad level and more fluidity at 6'6", and I would say by the time he gets in a collegiate strength and conditioning system, let's call him 270. Let's say he's at a playing weight of 270, 275.
Probably.
You might have yourself a little something there. Especially in the SEC, man, you can use big bodies on the defensive line. And to me, Grayson, this is just personal preference. Over the years, I've kind of developed a preference for smaller edge rushers rather than oversized ones. You know, I'm kind of, ideal size is maybe like the Taylor Wein type of player, right? Where he's 6'4", 270, 275 or thereabouts, where, he has the capacity to do all that is required of the defensive end position in the modern day without sacrificing any quickness or any, he's got a very well-rounded skill set, does Taylor Wein, and that's part of the reason why he's been so impactful is, he can rush with speed, he can rush with power, he can set the edge in the run game. If I had my choice, I would probably lean in the direction of going with a 6'2" type of guy like R. Mason Thomas that maybe has a little bit more bendability and prowess as a speed rusher than I would a 6'6" guy in Malique Franklin, or somebody like Malique Franklin, who, again, it's fair to wonder whether he ever really does evolve into the type of fluid mover that you're going to need to be to play that position effectively in the SEC. But it's worth a shot, man. It's worth a shot when you already have 3 other defensive ends
absolutely,
in the 2026 class that are all outstanding football players in their own right, and Jake Krell, Daniel Norman, and then Matthew Nelson. And Nelson himself is a little bit more of a project. He's not as ready-made as Jake Krell and Daniel Norman, 2 guys that I think could play and play quite a bit in year 1. There's a world where that is reality. Matthew Nelson probably isn't a year 1 guy, but the senior tape has been encouraging. It's becoming easier to see what Jim Nagy and the Oklahoma front office liked about Matthew Nelson and saw in Matthew Nelson. He's the type of guy where if everything breaks his way and he adds the weight, because that's a big thing for him right now, he's just a little bit underweight, he could be a year 2 guy. He could be a guy kind of like a Danny Okoye that is starting to make his presence felt in year 2. I look at Malique Franklin, I see it a year 3 guy. In all likelihood. Somebody that requires at least 2 years of refining and polishing. And it just kind of seems like, Grayson, that's what Oklahoma's looking for at this point. We talked earlier in the week about Jonas Muya.
Bingo.
Who may be an offer guy on the offensive line here late in the process for Oklahoma. From LaPorte, Indiana. And both he and Franklin are 2 guys that have super, super exciting physical traits. But when you watch them on tape, you figure it's probably going to be a couple of years for these guys.
And it's dudes that have it. Like, it's there. The talent is there. The ability is there. But whether it's, things that with the body or things like with Jonas Muya, he was a converted basketball player, so he hasn't really, completed the transition into being a real, true, actual football player. He's just a dude right now that's really strong and athletic right now. So I think at this point in the cycle, unless you're flipping somebody that's already committed to a prestigious school like they did with Jasir Rogers a couple of weeks ago, you're looking at projects right now in these late offers from Oklahoma.
Recruiting Boomer on the text line says, I love these late evals and offers, especially with the track record of Wein showing so tough. And it can go one of 2 directions, right? You can find a guy like Taylor Wein every now and again. Sometimes you wind up with an Ashton Sanders, who was another late eval, late addition for Oklahoma in the 2023 class. And he spent 2 years at OU, didn't do anything much, transferred out to UCLA. But Marcus Strong was a nice late pickup for Oklahoma there down the stretch in the 23 cycle. Kendall Dolby was a guy that they became aware of pretty late in the process. He turned out to be a good player. Taylor Wein, I don't feel like we really know yet with him, but he's done some nice things, some things that I guess would consider the average onlooker to regard him as more than just depth chart fodder, right? So when you look at Oklahoma's track record in the last few years with late evals, late pickups, late additions, and I don't really pay attention to the end of the 2022 cycle because at that point OU was just kind of trying to find anybody and everybody, and they found some good ones in R. Mason Thomas and Grayson Halton, obviously, and then there were some guys like Alton Tarber and Jamarian Burt where you just kind of sat there thinking, at least from an outside perspective, okay, what is this? Is there really an expectation that these guys are ever going to play at the University of Oklahoma? So I understand, like, you're working out of a sense of urgency and perhaps a hint of desperation when you have 2 months to try and fill out a roster that had been shaken to its core by Lincoln Riley's departure. But across the 2023, 24, 25, and now 26 cycles, I really, really like, A, the track record that we can measure to this point, but B, some of the evals that Oklahoma is actively making here down the stretch in the 2026 cycle, and the idea of what these guys could be if they are allotted the time and the runway to develop at OU. I can only hope they are. Like, if you're going to add these guys, if you're going to add Jonas Muya, if you're going to add Malique Franklin, I want to see these guys get time to develop. Because as we've seen, with Wein, with Marcus Strong, with somebody like a Taylor Wein, for instance, there are certain guys that Oklahoma will wait on. There are certain guys they haven't waited on either. And so I would figure now that you have some new philosophical grounding with the addition of Jim Nagy and the brand new Oklahoma front office, that if they're legitimately considering taking commitments from at least these couple of guys in Jonas Muya and Malique Franklin, that they're going to commit to them with the expectation that you're probably not getting much, if anything, out of them until year 3.
Yeah, low risk, high reward potential.
Recruiting Boomer says, man, what could have been with the eval of Cavante Henry? Yeah, that was, in many ways, Devon Mitchell before Devon Mitchell. Not necessarily in, like, and I know everybody's going to have the buffet jokes now, but, like, not in that same sense. But if a guy is unwilling to help himself, you really can't do anything as a coaching staff at a certain point. Oklahoma tried to make it work with Cavante Henry. He just wasn't buying it, wasn't bought in, wanted no part of the coaching and the development at Oklahoma, and he did his little JUCO bounce back and wound up at Alabama. Oklahoma's going to see him.
Yeah. Mike in New Jersey says on the YouTube chat, good morning from the Philippines, where it is also, coincidentally, almost 5 in the morning.
Hey now, Mike, you know what that means. Expect a text here in short order from Travis Davidson.
I think Cole is in our YouTube chat because he says, my daughter jumped in my bed, and seconds later my phone dings, and that is what I opened my eyes to.
Woof. Apologies, Cole. Hopefully your the addition of a couple of stars to your eval on the Knippelmeyer Chevrolet text line helps offset the weirdness of your morning. 405-651-3439 is the text line. Hit us up. We'll get to some of your questions, comments, opinions on the other side. Keep it here on the Ref, the home of Sooner fans.
Do you eat, sleep, and breathe Sooner football? We do too. This is the Ref, home of Sooner fans.
Winning in business means having the right teammate. Stride Bank's commercial banking experts are here with treasury management, lending, and cash flow solutions designed to help your business score big. From local startups to established enterprises, we've got the tools and expertise you need. Visit stridebank.com. Stride Bank, member FDIC. Stride Bank on your team since 1913 with Oklahoma roots and nationwide reach.
We all play a role in keeping our communities safe. Oklahoma is no stranger to attacks. It's now easier than ever. If you see something, say something. The free and anonymous Protect OK app allows instant reporting of suspicious activity, both in schools and the community. You can help keep your family and friends safe.
Protect OK.
Protect OK.
Protect OK.
Protect OK.
Download the Protect OK app today in the Apple App or Google Play stores. Funded by the Oklahoma Office of Homeland Security.
This is Jake Aldridge, partner at Aldridge Teasdale. We know accidents happen when you least expect them, but if you're injured, your path to recovery and justice starts with the right attorney by your side. At Aldridge Teasdale, we understand that every injury is personal and that every story matters. You deserve an advocate who will fight for you. But don't wait. If you need medical assistance, you need to get it now, and we can help you with access to the best doctors in Oklahoma. Call Aldridge Teasdale today, 405-447-HURT. That's 405-447-4878.
Hey guys, this is Lisa Talley, owner and broker of 828 Real Estate. 828 Real Estate is your premier full-service commercial and residential real estate brokerage and property management firm. With our team of real estate agents and specialized property management team, 828 is here for you in every capacity. Whether a seller or buyer, an investor or renter, please explore our website at 828re.com. 828 Real Estate, service with purpose. 405-701-8881. Call us today.
The Mont invites you to come by and enjoy our high-quality food and drinks in our historic atmosphere. The Mont has won numerous awards, including Best Restaurant in Norman, Best Appetizer for our great queso, Best Exotic Drink for the original swirl, the Best Patio Dining for our beautifully landscaped patio. Come see the Town Tavern OU football scoreboards dating back to 1947. We'll see you at the Mont on the corner of Boyd and Classen, or call us at 329-3330.
Looking for a sweet holiday tradition? Join the Norman Public School Foundation for Gingerbread Jingle on Saturday, December 13th from 10 a.m. to noon. Create treasured memories while decorating pre-assembled gingerbread houses with gourmet candy, take photos with Santa, write letters to the North Pole, enjoy sweet treats, and more. This festive event supports the Norman Public School Foundation, enhancing educational experiences for more than 16,000 students. Don't miss the holiday magic that makes a difference. Learn more at npsfok.org. Racing season is here at Remington Park. Giddy up and let's go racing. Thursday through Saturday with first post time at 6 p.m. Come feel the fastest fun around. Remington Park has the winning experience for everyone. Their casino is open 24 hours a day, and new members earn up to $50 of free play. Explore the excitement of the Oklahoma City casino scene with top games, dining, and entertainment options available. Remington Park Racing and Casino. Call 405-424-1000 or visit remingtonpark.com. Holiday season is right around the corner, and you know what that means. Holiday parties. From small events to big buyouts, Heyday Entertainment has the perfect party package for you. Book a bowling party or a play party at Heyday Norman, or shake things up with a pickleball bash at Hey Pickle Pickle, right off of I-35 and Indian Hills Road. Skip the stress and slay the holidays when you party with Heyday. Call 405-310-3500 to book your event today, or visit heydayfun.com. Heyday, where you choose your fun.
I was today years old when I learned that Tiago Splitter
is the interim
head coach of the Portland Trailblazers.
Yep.
Like, my youth is slipping away.
Man, Tiago Splitter was on those Spurs teams that was going toe-to-toe with the Heatles.
I know, man.
Which also, that feels so long ago.
Crazy times. Russell Westbrook is a Sacramento King now. Mm-hmm. I'm sitting here watching the NBA today on ESPN, and I guess just basking in how out of touch I am when it comes to the NBA in general. I don't have time or energy to pay a ton of attention to the NBA.
It doesn't require a whole... You do a lot of your work in the evenings, don't you? Putting together stories or something like that.
I guess so, yeah.
Man, the NBA's good it's good background noise.
Maybe I'll start using the NBA as background noise. Maybe that'll be a good way to get myself reincorporated into the news cycle of the NBA. Never mind. I'm not going to get sidetracked on a conversation about the NBA. That's not what you listen.
I forgot you have like a disdain for the NBA.
We're going to talk about OU football and recruiting, folks. 405 listener says, tomorrow's text from K-Ref, you up? How about a little hot take Thursday, folks? I hate the phrase hot takes because I think it's tired and overplayed, but if you have a bold take about OU football and or recruiting, a take that you think might be unpopular, and you're willing to voice it, hit us up on the text line, 405-651-3439. Let's go to the text line right now. A 402 listener asks, I know we've moved past any expectations of Jaden Ott, but given the hype, what happens next for that guy? I mean, what happens next for him is he is probably – I don't know that there's any way on earth Jaden Ott gets drafted at this point. Even if he tests really, really, really well, NFL front offices are going to look at the fact that he was healthy for his entire senior season at the University of Oklahoma and accounted for all of 68 rushing yards. That is what he is accounted for as of now. That number probably will not change, Grayson Singleton, unless he gets some runtime in some meaningless bowl game if things crash and burn here for Oklahoma down the stretch. But Jaden Ott's draft stock has completely tanked. It is in the gutter. And so what's next for him? He's probably hoping to latch on somewhere as an undrafted free agent and lock down a practice squad slot in the NFL with a strong fall camp, training camp, I guess, is what it is at the professional level. That's what's next for Jaden Ott. It's about all there is. I mean, he could go play in the UFL, the CFL, I guess. But with what he did at Cal, I feel pretty confident he'll get mini camp invites. He may get a contract with some NFL organization to at least come battle for a roster spot in camp. He does have an impressive track record at the collegiate level. At least up until the year 2025, his body of work suggested this guy's going to play in the NFL one day. A lot of the luster has been tarnished with what has happened for him in his 9 games as an Oklahoma Sooner. But he's one of those guys that I think somebody's still going to take a chance on.
Yeah, he'll get invites. I mean, his career is not done. Ryan in Jacksonville, off of that, what you just said, my hot take, this offensive line and running scheme would suit none other than Jaden Ott.
I don't know. Like, at this point, man, the problem is Torrey Blaylock and Xavier Robinson are both running the ball so well that there's just – Jaden Ott missed the window. He missed the window. I agree that with where Oklahoma's offensive line play and where they're at schematically right now, I think it probably suits Jaden Ott's game a little bit better than it did at the beginning of the season within the offense. But even so, man, like you're not seeing the field. You have no hope of seeing the field the rest of the way unless there's an injury. Unless, God forbid, knock on wood, Blaylock or Xavier Robinson gets seriously injured. And even then, you're playing second fiddle to the other healthy guy.
2-Star Jay in Tulsa says, OU hot take. The entire coaching staff is retained.
The entire coaching staff is retained. I don't know that I quite buy that, Jay in Tulsa. But if that's the case, I'll tell you what that probably means. Probably means Oklahoma finished the regular season 10-2 and went to the college football playoff.
Yes.
If you don't go to the college football playoff, I think there's going to be a sense of compulsion to make a move or two after the 5-0 start. And if Oklahoma goes 9-3 and they wind up on the outside looking in on Selection Sunday, or even if they go 8-4, I think the majority of what you have going can and should remain the same going into next season. But, yeah, I feel like you could stand to see a tweak or two.
Yeah, I mean, because at that point, if you make it to the college football playoff, you're running the ball a hell of a lot better. The offensive line is performing well. Like, who are you parting ways with? Joe John's got a hell of a recruiting class coming in.
He does,
so
man.
you're not going to give him the axe.
And Jaren Kanak has had a good year. I know he's been quiet the last couple of games, but Jaren Kanak has 410 receiving yards on the season. So he's on pace for 600-ish?
Mm-hmm.
By tight end standards, that's a pretty dang good season.
Yeah.
For a converted linebacker. And Joe John gets credit for that. He does.
Yeah, I mean, there's no argument for getting rid of Joe John. DeMarco probably would have resolved any of his issues, and Bill Bedenbaugh's offensive line looks like it's got a future now. Boomer Brock says Joe John still needs to be gone regardless. I don't know, man.
You are entitled to your opinion, Boomer Brock. I don't know. I think what Jaren Kanak has done this year, in addition to the pickup of Tyler Ruxer and Ryder Mix on the recruiting trail, to me, that has bought Joe John Finley some leeway. And and not to mention, I know it doesn't get talked about as much because it doesn't show up in the stat sheet, but Caden Helms is playing good ball for Oklahoma and making a difference as a run blocker.
Yeah, I would agree.
And again, Joe John Finley gets credit for that.
Tin Killer Steve says, I don't like it when the crowd yells Sooners at the end of the national anthem.
See, there you go.
Okay.
There's a hot take, baby. Come on.
I 100% agree with that. I go to about, 100 high school events every year. They play the national anthem at every single one. And even the high schools have started yelling whatever their mascot is at the end of it. It's corny. It was kind of inventive when it first started happening, but now I find it kind of corny.
Tattoo Baker says, if we make the playoffs, does Grayson Singleton become an OU fan?
Hey, I like my job, and I like doing my job how I do it.
Wow, that was a very political answer right there, folks. He dodged that question masterfully. Keanu Reeves-esque.
Do with that as you may.
Mojo Eraser says, Joe John has recruited no one, developed no one. He gets credit now for Kanak? LOL, in what world? Well, because he's Jaren Kanak's position coach. And he's the one that has helped oversee Jaren Kanak's Jaren Kanak didn't just flip on over to the offensive side of the ball and immediately have it all figured out, right? Now, to his credit, Jaren Kanak, as many, including Brent Venables, have said, was in the building more than anybody on the roster throughout the offseason, studying and working out and doing all he could to put himself in position to make an impact for this team at tight end. And he is owed some credit as well. But Joe John Finley is also owed credit. A 405 listener says, yelling Sooner at the end of the anthem is not corny for OU because they were one of, if not the first. It's corny to be a bandwagoner or not an originator. Mojo Bo says, Grayson, we love the United States, and we love the Sooners.
I don't think what I said was anything personal. That wasn't aimed at one individual group or not. I think the entire thing and how mainstream it's become is corny.
Mike in Tulsa asks, on whose head does the Ott failure land? I mean, maybe this feels like a cop-out answer, Mike, but it lands on Jaden Ott's head, first and foremost. You can lead a horse to water, you can't make him drink. If you're giving Jaden Ott opportunities, as Oklahoma did early in the season, to prove that he belonged on the field over a true freshman in Torrey Blaylock and Xavier Robinson and Javonte Barnes and who have you. And what he's doing with those opportunities consists of making not a whole lot of headway in the run game, dropping passes, failing to pass block. What can you do?
I agree.
You play the best, and I said this from about week 5 on. I respect the fact that DeMarco Murray has at no juncture played any political games with his running back room because the political thing to do would be to force the issue with Jaden Ott. The political thing to do would be to keep putting Jaden Ott on the field because you feel like you have to have justification for the investment that went into acquiring Jaden Ott. But DeMarco Murray and the Oklahoma offensive staff, man, they've just played the best guy from the jump this year. And for the majority of the season, the best guy was Torrey Blaylock. And that became clear early in the year. And they let Torrey Blaylock start to get in a groove. And there came a certain point at which it became apparent, okay, Xavier Robinson's got it going too. Let's get Xavier Robinson more touches. And now you have, I think, a really healthy, really formidable 1-2 punch in the backfield where regardless if it's Blaylock with the hot hand or it's Xavier Robinson with the hot hand, you can ride either of those two.
Yeah, no, I agree. I don't think there's any room to critique DeMarco here. Like, this is a Jaden Ott thing. And the whole thing started off, by the way, and really got rolling when he suffered that injury at the end of fall camp. Obviously, that's the thing that got it all rolling, and then he doesn't progress back as quickly as should have been reasonably expected. So there's Jaden Ott, and then a little bit of it is bad luck.
Mike and Tulsa says, what was he expecting to happen when he got here? Promises? Genuflection? Whatever he was expecting, I think it's fair to say he hasn't gotten it. Because at a place like the University of Oklahoma, and, you know, Jaden Ott, he made some comments naturally, as he was prodded to do about the differences between Cal and Oklahoma when he met with the media for the first and only time back in early August. But the University of Oklahoma and the University of California at Berkeley play football on two very different levels. Technically, they're both Power 4. They're both FBS. But it just means more in the SEC and at the University of Oklahoma. A 620 listener says, grab a tissue, Parker. A tissue?
Yeah.
I'm unclear as to where you're going with that. What I don't know. Denver from Indiana says, all you blowhards need to quit talking athletes up without seeing them play at OU. Mateer, Giovanni Gibson, Jaden Ott, you all made them out like they were walking on water.
Okay. Let me ask you this to retort. How would you have liked us to go about talking about the additions of Mateer and Ott and others based on the information that we knew at the time? That would be my response to that. Because ultimately, we're projecting how what you've put on the field beforehand will be translated into Oklahoma and its schedule and the SEC. Now, do I think we went a little bit overboard with John Mateer? Maybe the some of us at the station probably did. Maybe we went a little bit overboard with the John Mateer thing. But Jaden Ott, I mean, if you look back to the last season that he was healthy, that being 2023, I mean, you couldn't help but say, man, behind an SEC offensive line with a creative play caller and a dual-threat quarterback and some really good receivers on the outside, and you throw him into it, this offense can be really, really lethal. Like, you couldn't help but say that based on the information that we knew at the time. Mm-hmm. So my only question would be, how would you have wanted us to go about that different, knowing what we knew then?
And Denver, this wasn't exclusive to the ref nor the local media. Nationally, there were plenty of folks saying Oklahoma might have landed the best quarterback and the best running back in the offseason transfer portal cycle. Now, Giovanni Gibson, we may never know because of the injury that he suffered, whether he was actually on track to be what everybody made him out to be throughout the spring when the word was he's the best receiver on Oklahoma's roster. He hasn't impressed me so far from what we've seen of him, and I don't know how much of that is due to the fact that he is coming off that injury and he just might not have that same burst and same explosiveness that he did pre-injury. But, you know, Denver, like I hear what you're saying, but there are extenuating circumstances with Giovanni Gibson, and the opinions of Mateer and Ott were by no means exclusive to those of us that cover Oklahoma football.
Yeah. Hey, let's
reside here within the state.
Let's get one more before we go to break because we have a super chat on the YouTube.
Ooh, okay. What do we got?
Midland Sooner says, Ott is from Berkeley. He's soft. You think that's DeMarco's decision, or was it Arbuckle to go with that guy? I guess I'm still learning things about people about like native Oklahomans. Like, do y'all just assume everybody that's from the state of California is soft? Like, is that how that works? Because I would beg to differ. I'm just wondering. Please educate me.
Yeah, it's not a state of California thing, as evidenced by the fact that Oklahoma is making a big push into the state of California in the 2027 recruiting cycle.
Exactly. I'm just saying.
There's a certain connotation. There's a certain connotation. It's probably a little bit overplayed.
Yeah, a little bit. I've got experience that would be to the contrary.
Is what it is. 405-651-3439 is the text line. We'll wrap up Locked In on the other side. This is The Ref, the home of Sooner fans.
The Ref Radio Sports Network is powered statewide by the insurance adjusters at Brown O'Haver. Fire, wind, theft, or tornado, we can help. Call 405-735-5510.
Let's talk turkey. Riverwind is OKC's favorite place to play.
And we've got plenty of jackpots to be thankful for.
Why stop at one thrill when you can chase all three at once?
Play blackjack, baccarat, and roulette on our all-new gaming machine.
Looking for the best in rewards? Elevate your player status when you win with your wild card.
Fridays in November, play for your share of our $120,000 Pixel Power giveaway.
Expect the best at Riverwind.
Hey, Ref Army, want to know what's happening in Norman? Pick up Boyd Street Magazine, Norman's oldest community magazine. Get the latest on OU sports, local eats, to spotlights on incredible businesses, nonprofits, and can't-miss events. Boyd Street keeps it local. Read the current edition free at boydstreet.com or pick up any copy at racks across Norman and more, like at Legends, Interurban, Louis Pub W, and La Baguette. Follow Boyd Street on social media for bonus content and to find even more pickup locations. That's Boyd Street Magazine, your community connection.
What do you get when you add 33% more service bays at your brand new state-of-the-art facility? Same-day service with appointments. We can now offer same-day service to keep your Honda running at its very best. Plus, our service department is 100% indoors and climate controlled. This means you never have to sweat or get wet picking up your car. Call us today at 405-631-4444 or schedule online at eskridgehonda.com.
Belmar Golf Club offers a whole new world of recreation and excitement. Our Junior Olympic-sized swimming pool offers a family-friendly atmosphere with poolside food and beverages perfect for all types of summer pool parties. In addition to the best golf course in Oklahoma, Belmar is also a great place to hold corporate and fundraising events, as well as magnificent and memorable wedding ceremonies. Call 405-364-0111 or stop by 1025 East Indian Hills Road and check out our first-class facilities and exceptional service.
Would you like to play a more active role in your health? At Hightower Clinical, we believe all Oklahomans should have access to new potential treatment options through clinical trial participation. Our team wants to support you with the best care possible through clinical trials. No health insurance is required. Compensation is available for eligible study participants, and study care is provided at no cost.
Having the chance to go through a trial and find out if something works for them and makes their life easier, I would recommend them do it.
To learn more, scan this QR code and visit our website.
This is Mark Van Hoos, owner of Van Hoos Fence. Van Hoos Fence has years of experience and proven superior performance, kind of like a certain head ball coach.
We know Van Hoos Fence offers the best value and service for your residential, commercial, or sports fencing needs. Whether it's a new install or repair work, let Mark and his team at Van Hoos Fence be your trusted resource.
Call us today at 405-735-1167.
Save yourself from Googling it up. Go to vhfence.com. They will work with you in a great way.
CallBrianSmith.com is your 24/7 access to the best car and home insurance in Oklahoma. We specialize in making the process simple, fast, and affordable while still keeping that trusted local touch. Ready to save money on your coverage needs? Call BrianSmith.com at 918-481-7283 or visit us on Facebook and tune into our podcast, Get Canceled, on iTunes or Spotify. Call BrianSmith.com, your easy button for insurance in Oklahoma. This Christmas, give a gift that brings a spark of joy. For children in foster care, the holidays can be a time of uncertainty. Fostering Future's Secret Santa program connects you with children in foster care so that you can fulfill a wish and bring the magic of Christmas to their lives. Your support can make all the difference. Sponsor a child's wish list, donate a gift, or make a financial contribution. Fill the season with hope for a child in foster care. To donate or become a Secret Santa, go to fosteringfuturesok.org or contact Jordan Baker at 405-651-1854.
It's the Ref, the Home of Sooner fans. Final segment of Locked In. Parker Thune alongside Grayson Singleton. As we mentioned to lead off the show, the news of the day from the recruiting world is that there is a new offer out in the 2026 recruiting class. Defensive end Malique Franklin out of Daphne, Alabama. All 6'6", 255 pounds of him. Has an offer to play football at the University of Oklahoma, and naturally this whole process is going to need to move pretty quick as we're just 4 weeks out from National Signing Day, Grayson. It's kind of crazy to think that we're getting that close. This football season has flown by in the blink of an eye.
It always does.
Only 3 games left for the Sooners in the regular season, but National Signing Day this year is on December 3rd, 2025. So we are, I guess, actually a little bit less than 4 weeks out from National Signing Day, and we'll see what kind of havoc, whether positive or negative, comes Oklahoma's way over the last 4 weeks of the cycle. I mean, I guess it's not technically the last 4 weeks of the cycle. National Signing Day, in technicality, still happens in February, but nobody signs in February anymore. Last year, Oklahoma had 18 signees. All 18 of them signed in the early signing period. The year before that, Oklahoma had 27 signees. All of them signed in the early signing period. The last guy to sign with Oklahoma in the February signing period was Taylor Wein back in February of 2023. And he was the only one.
As somebody who's covered recruiting as long as you have, do you prefer how the trend has been with everybody signing pretty much in December?
I do like it because what happens in January these days, and I think it's part of the reason why there's been a push to get so many guys enrolling early and thus signing early, is because transfer portal chaos rules the month of January. And in years past, it's ruled the month of December as well, for the most part. Of course, the NCAA has now instituted one transfer window that is only 10 days. And so we won't have to seriously worry about the transfer portal until the month of January. We'll obviously get announcements before then. There will be guys trickling into the portal early if they're grad transfers. But we won't have to worry about complete transfer portal mayhem until the month of January when that window opens up. So, yes, I do like it because you kind of get the chance to tie a bow on the recruiting cycle in early December and then pivot to the portal for a couple of months and all of the storylines that crop up therein. And then spring football starts up in March and the whole cycle resets. But, yeah, I like the way it's all moved, and I think it certainly offers guys a better opportunity to see the field right off the bat because they get the chance, assuming they're signing early and enrolling early, which is what the majority of guys do now. They get the chance to go through spring ball with the team, start learning the playbook, start getting live reps, and position themselves to make an immediate impact at their college program of choice as a true freshman.
And I think the early signing period is the biggest culprit as to why these teams are firing coaches so early. Because you got to figure out where the direction is for the program so you can try to keep your recruits in tow.
Chris Tate on the text line says, I assume Kendall Dolby will be gone after this year. Where would he likely end up? I don't know, Chris. I don't know. But, I think you're right. I wouldn't expect Kendall Dolby back on this roster in 2026. And the other guy that's navigating a similar circumstance right now is Javonte Barnes, obviously, and I wouldn't expect him back either. So I think it's easy to figure if you're just reading between the lines that those two are going to be portal departures this offseason for Oklahoma. They each have a year left to play, and the opportunity appears to have more or less passed them by at OU.
Hey, Chris from Knoxville, going back to our hot take conversation from last segment, says this, negative hot take. We're going to lose at least one key contributor to the portal because keeping everyone that can return, especially on defense, is going to be expensive.
You know, you may be right, Chris. I'm trying to think which position that might be most likely to occur. I guess maybe somewhere in the secondary? Because I don't think you're going to have to convince somebody like David Stone to stick around. You're not going to have to convince somebody like Danny Okoye to stick around. Those dudes are primed for much larger roles next year, even as they already play significant roles for this football team in 2025. David Stone has 30 tackles this year.
Oh, you want my hot take?
David Stone has 30 tackles. I didn't realize that until I was combing through stats yesterday. 30 tackles for a defensive lineman, an interior defensive lineman, is nuts.
No, you want to know my OU hot take?
What's that?
And I've held this for weeks. I just haven't had the chance to say this. David Stone is the best defensive tackle on this team. I don't know if that's a hot take anymore, but that is he is better than Dominic Williams. He is better than Jaden Jackson. And better than Grayson Halton. By the way, no offense to any of them.
They're all really good.
By the way, because they're all damn good. But David Stone, this dude is going to be a pro. This dude's going to be a Pro Bowler in the NFL if his career trajectory is fulfilled. I mean, this dude is outstanding.
He's been awesome, man. And as a sophomore, to be doing what he's doing after playing minimally just here and there as a true freshman, he's positioning himself with a strong junior season, to be an early draft entrant and a very high draft pick because he has always had everything in the toolbox. It's been apparent from the time that he was the number one defensive lineman and I believe number one overall defensive prospect in the 2024 recruiting class. David Stone has always looked the part of a can't-miss guy, can't-miss prospect. He's now playing like a can't-miss prospect.
You know, and it's wild because I remember when I first joined the station, it was, okay, Jaden Jackson is the guy that's getting all that, and David Stone just needed the technical refinement and all of that. Well, he got the technical refinement, and dog is a menace.
And Sooner Soldier says, he is not better than Jaden Jackson. Come on, Cowpoke. The fact that you can have this discussion.
Agreed.
And there's a case to be made for both guys. Doesn't that say all it needs to say?
Exactly.
Elk City Sooner wants to know, what do you give Oklahoma's chances to get the wide receiver turned cornerback from Tulsa? He's talking about Elijah Green, who is currently tied for the national lead with 5 interceptions this season. What kind of chances do I give Oklahoma to land him? Well, I'll say this. In talking with several folks close to that situation, I'm not even sure it's a guarantee he leaves Tulsa. You'd think, right? You'd think that somebody like that would be looking for a payday. Don't get the sense that's just automatically the case based on the conversations I've had. But we talked about it yesterday. Elijah Green grew up a Sooner fan. If there was a world where he wanted to hit the portal and explore other options at season's end, Oklahoma would be a big-time player. No question about it. You hate to say it'd be an open and shut type of process. 5 years ago, it probably would have been, but with as wild and as fluid as the market has become, whenever a guy jumps in the portal, you can't take it to the bank. No pun intended there. But yeah, if he gets in the portal, Oklahoma's going to be a serious player for his services, especially because they're going to take a portal corner. They're going to at this point. It's just a matter of who that guy is. They have a couple of guys already kind of in the crosshairs, if you will. And Elijah Green, certainly for the proximity factor, is one of those guys. When he's that close to home and he's playing as well as he is, yeah, he's going to be on the radar, naturally.
The Bleeper says, Stone was a 5-star, Grayson. I'm aware. Why the big hot take, bro? idiot.
Hey, we don't have to be mean, bleeper.
Hold on. Hang on. I mean, is he still isn't listed as a 1 on the 2 deeps every week, is he? Or has he been
Stone?
Yes. Or has he been elevated by now?
I see. I quit paying attention to the depth chart by like week 3, so I don't even know anymore. But generally, when they announce the starters, he's not announced amongst the starters. It's either Jaden Jackson and Grayson Halton or Jaden Jackson, Dominic Williams.
And that to me is what could qualify it as a hot take. Is like he's not even considered a starter, and I think he's the best.
Recruiting Boomer says, hot take, Ohio State will come in and grab at least one of our star players, especially after what they tried last season. Yeah, I think it's pretty well known at this point that Ohio State was doing a little back channeling, as schools do, with Jaden Jackson. And I'm just curious to see who the next Caden Green is going to be, because it'll happen at some point, right? It'll happen. Some OU football player, potentially a pretty big name, will get back-channeled to another school. It happened with Caden Green. It happened this spring with Cole Gonzalez, but he was a third-string quarterback, so nobody really
care.
Yeah, nobody really gave that the time of day. But I wonder if that happens again this offseason. I wonder if there's another Caden Green. There's going to be another Caden Green at a certain point. You're just hoping to dodge that whole deal for at least one more offseason if you're Oklahoma, because I think when you look at this team and how they could shape up in 2026, the pieces are there to be right back in the college football playoff discussion, the national championship discussion. All right, folks, the Rush is coming up next. Tyler and Ted have you for the next 3 hours. For Grayson Singleton, I'm Parker Thune. We'll see you tomorrow.